Welcome to the Cocktail Spirit from Small Screen Network. I'm your host, Robert Hess. Now, bitters in a cocktail are extremely important. But a lot of people don't understand bitters and haven't used bitters that often. Angostura bitters we've already covered with Manhattan. I'd like to introduce you now to orange bitters. Like I mentioned in the Manhattan episode, orange bitters once were more popular than Angostura bitters. And there's a whole raft of other bitters to use as well. Different cocktails focus on different bitters though. Usually gin cocktails will use orange bitters, where whiskey cocktails will use Angostura bitters. The cocktail I want to take and prepare for you today uses orange bitters is called the Opera. It's another one of those cocktails you may not have heard before and most bartenders don't know. As a matter of fact, I would say probably 99% of the bartenders don't know. The only ones that are going to know it are the ones that have taken the time to actually do the research and look in the old books and rediscover some of the cocktails that used to be popular. The Opera is a gin-based cocktail. That's where the orange bitters come in. We're going to use 2 ounces of gin. A half ounce of Dubonnet. Dubonnet, if you're not familiar with it, is kind of like sweet vermouth. As a matter of fact, there is both a red and a white or yellow version of Dubonnet. So we're using the Dubonnet Rouge, what they call it. It's a fortified wine, which means it's a wine with other spices and things like that into it. Kind of a secret recipe. Quinine is one of the ingredients that they have in Dubonnet. Has a rather distinctive flavor to it. Pour that in. And a 1/4 ounce of maraschino liqueur. Okay, notice I'm having trouble pouring. The reason that this isn't pouring very well is because this little top on the top here. This is like an auto pour top or something like that. A lot of spirits and liqueurs will come with these tops on it. Some people might think that's for allowing you to take and do pouring without having to have those little speed pour spouts on it. Actually, the reason for these tops is so that you can't introduce liquor back into the bottle. Some people might be thinking that they could take a bottle of gin, of a good bottle of gin, take a bad bottle of gin and then pour it in when it's done. This prevents that. That's the whole reason for having these bottle tops. And I think these days any good bartender is not going to do that. And I really hate those type of tops. As you saw, it's rather difficult to pour with it. So there's the maraschino liqueur. Now add a healthy dash of orange bitters. Now add my ice. And stir it up. Like I mentioned in the Manhattan episode, since this is having all clear ingredients, we want to stir it rather than shake it. Otherwise it'd be cloudy and maybe even frothy on the top. Now you notice on this drink, we didn't fill it clear to the top of the glass. This actually is a proper pour for a cocktail. You want to have what's called a collar around the top of the glass. That's a little space. Not only does it make it easy for having the server take it out to the table, but also as the drinker, it makes it easier for picking it up. I see a lot of places that will serve clear to the top of the rim, and that's just a mess. It might make the customer feel like they're getting a bigger pour. If that's the size of the drink you want to make sure you have a slightly larger glass to be able to fit it in. For the garnish on this drink, we're going to use a lemon twist. Again, as we always have, over the top of the glass. Now on the champagne cocktails we've done so far, I've taken the lemon twist, spiraled it up nicely, and simply dropped it in. In this case, we're going to spiral it up as well. Tighten up the spiral just to get it set. Pull it off, and rather than simply dropping it in, I'm going to take and rub the outside of the skin of the lemon on the rim of the glass to add just a little extra flavor as you're sipping it. You always want to make sure you rub the outside of the skin rather than the white of the skin against the glass, because it's the outside of the skin that has the flavor of the oils and stuff that just got through getting expressed. Now we can layer this over the top, and there we have the opera cocktail.